There are a whole lot of villains in Marvel, but few are more powerful than Thanos, the Mad Titan. And let me tell you, few are more creepy than Gorr, the God Butcher. So, who wins between these two terrifying villains? Well, let's get into it. But before we get into it, well, if you think that Thanos takes it, well, be sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you disagree, if you think that Gorr wins, well, turn on that notification bell. Now, let's get it. And starting out, well, let's do a little deep dive into the Mad Titan. Let's talk about Thanos. So, while Thanos might not have the same jaw dropping strength feats like your Hulks, your Thors, your Supermans, you definitely can't underestimate his strength. Why? Well, because Thanos has easily beaten up on guys like that for years, just casually taking them down. He's fought against Hulk and Thing and Thor and Hercules and all four of them at the same time. He's fought against Thor with the power gem. He's punched Hulk straight through a small town. He nearly killed Silver Surfer with just a few punches, done all sorts of stuff like that. Thanos has even destroyed a few planets in his lifetime. He destroyed a planet in his fight against Drax the Destroyer, and then he destroyed another planet by bull rushing his own son clean through one. Definitely not going to be winning Dad of the Year anytime soon for that one. He's also incredibly tough. Tough enough to take attacks from all those heroes and really not even be bothered for the most part. He's taken blast from Odin, even multiple blasts from Annihilus' throne world, which killed Thor, Hulk, Gladiator, and Hyperion, people like that, with just one blast. He can take shouts from Black Bolt directly to the face, take blast from Silver Surfer like they're absolutely nothing. He's taken strikes from a Power Stone amped Thor, and again just smiled. He's even survived a multi galaxy wide black hole. And then Thanos actually has some pretty great force fields. Like, really impressive. I mean, it was able to take blast from Galactus. And Galactus even mentioned that he's never had to exert himself before to get through a force field. Not only that, but it's taken blast from Silver Surfer. It's easily held back the champion of the universe. Thanos was even able to use it to stand up against Odin. And then, if something ever does happen to Thanos, well, he's got a pretty amazing healing factor to fall back upon. I mean, the guy can even survive and heal from reality manipulation. That's just crazy. Then Thanos doesn't just have some of the best tech and the force fields in the universe. Well, he also has some of the most powerful energy blast in the universe, able to take down Hulk and Thor and Beta Ray Bill, and even blast away Galactus, send him flying away, and destroy his helmet. Although it didn't really do too much to him in the end, because I mean, it's Galactus. Galactus is still more powerful than Thanos. And it's not just strictly Energy Blast either. Even those are pretty freaking effective. He can teleport people, trap them in energy bubbles. He can even do stuff like manipulate matter. Then there's his telepathy, easily one of his most effective attacks. He can mind control the Hulk, he can beat Moondragon in a telepathic fight, and then just easily and absolutely dominate the untrained mind. You might not really think of telepathy when you think of Thanos, but it is one of his more underrated areas. But then there's Gorr, the God Butcher. Gorr is incredibly strong, easily beating up on Thor, all different types of Thor. Yeah, you'd think it's impressive that Thanos is able to fight against Thor. Well, Gorr can fight against three different versions of Thor at once. That's on a whole other level. I mean, one of these versions of Thor was even King Thor, a literal Sky Father. He was even more powerful than Odin. I mean, Thor didn't even tap into the Odin Force anymore. It was actually renamed the Thor Force because of just how powerful he was. He's able to easily beat Galactus. He's able to beat up on Wolverine, who possessed the Phoenix Force. He's a universal level threat out there, throwing around both Mjolnir and the Odin Sword. This was just one of the versions that Gorr was fighting against. He was also fighting against Avenger Thor, the same Thor that Thanos usually encounters, then a young Thor. But beating up on King Thor is just crazy. He can take an absurd amount of punishment, just all sorts of massive blows and punches from many different Thors and really many different gods. I'm talking world shattering blows. He survived lightning strikes from Thor, some really pretty serious lightning strikes. He was just unbothered by Thor throwing literal stars at him, was even sent flying whole light years by some of those blasts. Gorr is incredibly tough, just almost on a whole other level. And Gorr is a whole other animal with all black, the Necro Sword. Because not only is he able to pierce through and slaughter and butcher countless gods, but he's able to beat three different Thors all at once. Seriously, cannot stress that enough. He's able to destroy whole planets and cut stars in half, pretty much everything else that he could possibly want to do. Form constructs like giant serpents or giant swords or even whole planets. He can engulf stars and planets and even the whole universe in darkness. The whole universe. And each of these constructs, these black berserkers, are able to kill gods all by themselves. It takes Thor hours to kill just one. They're even able to overwhelm King Thor. And just watch out for when they transform all into one giant serpent. That's the big guy that you really got to look out for. So, out of these two villains, who's going to take it? Who's going to win? Well, Thanos is definitely a force to be reckoned with. Don't matter who he's going up against, don't matter what you're capable of, if you're squaring off against Thanos, well, then you're really in for the fight of your life. I mean, he's shown to be an abstract level enemy, shown to be on par with other cosmic level beings like Galactus or similar gods. He can even talk freely with them and sit at the same high table with them. And you gotta give it to Thanos too. He's actually a really productive villain. He actually accomplishes a lot of the goals that he sets out to achieve. He became one with the universe after absorbing the cosmic cube. He wiped out like half of life in the universe with the Infinity Gauntlet and took eternity's place. He even ended up with Lady Death. But can he really beat Gorr? Can he really beat the butcher of all gods? I mean, the Necrosword is able to kill Celestials. The thing is absolutely no joke. And when Gorr is out there wielding it, while he's destroying planets and cutting stars in half, he's fighting against Skyfathers. And you might say, well, Thanos fought against Odin before. Not just that, but Odin said that it had been eons since he had fought such a foe as Thanos. And yeah, that's great. But really? Regardless of what Odin said, Thanos didn't do too great against Odin. Thanos didn't really do too great against Galactus. Gorr was fighting against a Thor who was said to be more powerful than Odin. He was fighting against a Thor who easily beat Galactus. Not just that, but he was fighting against two other Thors at the same time. And all this isn't even talking about Gorr's army. He's got an army of black berserkers, all of which were able to fight against and kill gods. They're able to fight against Thor one on one. It takes Thor hours to slay just one, and a whole horde of them is able to overwhelm King Thor all by themselves. Gorr wasn't even present. They'll beat him to near the brink of death, then ease up and carry him back to his throne, not killing him, letting him die on the battlefield where he would reach Valhalla, essentially torturing him through all this. So Thanos isn't just going to be taking on Gorr, but he's going to be taking on all these things too. I don't think Thanos can beat Gorr. And I definitely don't think he could beat Gorr and a whole shadow army. Yeah, don't see that happening. Gorr the God Butcher wins.